Today I'm going to discuss integrating technology into the curriculum by summarizing 4 articles. The first article, What is Successful Technology Integration?, defines what it looks like for successful integration to occur in your classroom. It also gives you some types of technology integration ideas for your classroom. But what is successful technology? This article defines seamless integration using a variety of technology tools daily that match the tasks students are asked to do and provide learning opportunities that meet the content objectives. It also lists the types of technology integration. They can include, but are not limited to, online learning in blended classrooms, where teachers can record videos and upload them to a classroom website where students are to access at home prior to class. Adult education also benefits from this type of classroom environments. There's also project-based activities where students are using technology as a means of assessment to a unit of study. Game-based learning and assessments that allow teachers to get away from paper and pencil formative and summative assessments. There's learning with mobile and handheld devices. Having students use their own devices or handheld devices frees up the environment in which they learn. For example, we can take our students outdoors for practical learning experiences. Also, instructional tools. Teachers can enhance lessons using whiteboards where students are asked to interact by manipulating on-screen data. There's web-based portfolios and projects which allow students to share their work in a meaningful way with the class and the world. And last but not least, podcasts, videos, slideshows, wikis, Google Docs, social media. These are able to allow students choice and a way to collaborate and share with the outside world. But successful integration also is determined by a teacher. A teacher falls into 4 categories when integrating technology. There is number 1, sparse, where tech is rarely used. 2, the basics, where technology is occasionally used, but limited tools are used. There's the comfortable stage, where technology is used regularly and students show an understanding of content using a variety of tools. And last, the seamless stage, where students use technology daily to create projects that show a deep understanding of the concepts. Successful integration must also follow the SAMR model, which you see here on the right. We start at the bottom with substitution, working our way up to augmentation, modification, and redefinition, with a definite line between augmentation and modification, which shows you moving from enhancing lessons to transforming lessons. Finally, how do teachers move beyond that basic stage? This framework shows how teachers need to think of content, technology, and pedagogy in an equitable fashion. Lessons need to be designed with all 3 in mind from start to finish. The next article, Best Practices in Technology Integration, adds to the framework that we just discussed. It's rooted in what the research says, which is that studies have shown technology can positively influence and impact student learning when integrated into the curriculum and instruction in a meaningful and authentic way. This is done by matching tools and tasks to achieve learning standards. In order to match tools with tasks for our students, we must consider the available technologies to our individual schools and the types and their purposes. Type 1 allows students to learn from the technology. Type 2 allows students to learn with the technology and will most likely lead to the highest level of learning on our SAMR model being transformational. Once you know the types of technology integration, determining what will work best for your school curriculum is a crucial step. So, best practice in integrating technology, teachers also need to be trained. Professional development is key to a successful tech curriculum. The development must equip teachers with the skills to address curricular objectives in a student-centered fashion. It must also encourage inquiry. We should assign projects that fit the objectives, facilitate collaboration, and make learning outcomes relative to our students. It also states the best practice in technology literacy standards. So what does this mean? Well, it's important to emphasize that in order to develop 21st century skills, the content objectives should drive the learning, but students should be learning the technology and content side by side. What this means, well, we don't have separate computer classes. They're not necessary for teaching our students the skills. They learn the technology skills while they learn the content. In the next article, Technology Integration, Best Practices, Where Do Teachers Stand? This introduces us to 5 stages of integration and gives us some common practices. First, teacher transformation. How do teachers move through the transformational stage of integrating technology? The first stage is the entry phase, in where teachers use mostly text-based materials. Computer use is a reward, and instructional tools are used for traditional teacher-directed activities. Eventually, teachers will move into the adoption phase, where students are being taught how to use technology, but at a skill-seeking level only, meaning they're learning keyboarding skills and things like that. The next phase is the adaptation phase, where new technologies are integrated and technology-connected activities are planned for students. Students are producing more work at a faster rate. Teachers are beginning to understand how to plan for tech integration and have acquired a new set of skills to boot. The appropriation phase comes where attitudes toward technology changes. Teachers understand the usefulness of the technology and apply it effortlessly to have students accomplish real-world assessments. The role of the teacher is truly changed from director to facilitator. Finally, teachers reach the pinnacle phase of invention. During this phase, teachers experiment with new technologies and allow students to construct their own knowledge through collaboration, interdisciplinary projects, and public shared spaces. The article also gives us 5 common practices. Okay, so how do we do this while keeping best practices in mind? The 5 common practices to utilize are to build multidisciplinary units and promote lessons with real-life situations. Let the objectives drive technology use by first focusing on objectives and then focus on when to use technology when appropriate. Create a community of learners through collaboration by incorporating shared documents and blog sites to allow peer feedback. Scaffold for understanding with not only the learning objectives, but also the technology objectives. And finally, use multiple technologies. Don't overuse one, but experiment with several platforms. Finally, in the last article, we're warned of mistakes during technology integration. It's important to not dump technology into schools and expect it to just work. Training and collaboration is needed to be successful. It's also not okay to assume that other models from other schools will work in yours. Take into account your school's curriculum and student demographics. Do not roll out tech first and then think about the content. Also, don't just take some other content and make it work for you. Take into consideration your classroom's needs. Don't put all hope in one software without first researching it. Take into account the cost of ownership and operation of the technology, and make sure it's equitable for your district or school. Finally, not training teachers and administrators will lead to frustrations, and technology use will never reach its full potential. In closing, technology integration will take time, money, and most importantly, patience. Effective integration can only take place when schools make technology integration a seamless event. Pedagogy, content, and technology need to be equally prioritized in lessons, and teachers need to progress through the 5 stages with help from the school community.